Now, I've made a few videos about failure before, which was like, hey, if you fail at something, obviously it's your key to success. But I want to talk about a failure that I feel like is really not talked a lot and I don't really hear about it. And it's kind of something that I talked about years ago and I just randomly had a thought before going to sleep about it. And I really wanted to emphasize on it because I think it's important to understand emotions and understand experiences in a sense of like, you need to know how it feels for something in order to, know how it feels and relate, and you need to change as a person. And I don't want to sound like, hey, you need pain, you need someone to break your heart in life. It's not what I'm saying. I don't wish that upon anybody, but I want to say that it can be good in a sense of like, if you're in a breakup and it's the worst breakup you've ever been in, obviously there's two things that could happen to you. One, you can sit in your bed all day and mope around and cry. And I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily. That just takes time for people if they do that. I'm not saying that insulting anything like that, but there's also people who will take that and go to the gym. And by doing that, not you're not only working on yourself, but it gives you a motivation like, hey, like I was disrespected, and honestly, like I'm gonna take that sadness and that anger and put it into something positive. And it doesn't have to go with something in a sense of like, oh, I'm gonna, I need to go through a breakup for just to go to the gym. It goes with talking to people about it, being able to relate to it, and giving you a sense of relatable talking topics with anybody. Like if you in a group of your boys, like all of them have been in relationships and you haven't, and then you go through your breakup, you can actually talk about it, and then you guys can all talk about solutions and blah 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 blah, just shit like that. You can relate to people when you go through anything, and you can talk about it, find different points. Because if you were to have a conversation with your friend and you have another buddy that's right there that has never been through a breakup, whatever you're talking about isn't going to stay in his head because he doesn't fucking know anything about what you guys are talking about, in a sense of like, he can't feel the emotion of going through a breakup or of being with someone in a sense where they broke their hearts, that he can't really relate to that conversation. And it's not giving him a motivation to do really anything, in a sense of like I said, gym or find a purpose. I didn't really look for a quote unquote purpose until I was, my heart was broken, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just do shit, motivate myself, find something to do, because it's a wake up call. A first breakup is always like a wake up call for you to like grind mode, and again, like I said, you can be someone who cries and sleeps in your bed every day for months. I don't personally recommend doing that. I think that that's the biggest waste of time. I'm not gonna say and trash on it, but in my opinion, like that's the worst thing you can do. I've definitely done some shit like that where, my levels of depression went up. Not like anything really bad depression, but I was just sad and I stayed in my bed all day for a summer or half a summer, and I never really did anything about it. And, you know, when I went through more and more experiences, I was able to take my quote unquote sadness or whatever and anger and put it into something that benefited me for the long run. And it also is good in a sense of like, let's just say you go through a breakup, now you know for your next relationship what not to do and what to look for. And I was gonna make a video about it, like what relationships do teach you, even if like it was the worst relationship. But I feel like I should just put it in this video because it just like, again, it could have been the best relationship you thought in your life, and one day you guys break up or she cheats on you, and you feel like shit. But don't look at it as a waste of time. Look at it as a positive, because you grab that information and you grab that experience, and when you go into the next relationship, you're more mentally mature and you know what to look for, and you're not scared of saying no, and you're not scared of sharing your values or sharing your standards with people. And just because again, even this goes even with like a relation, like I've been in a relationship where it was like super toxic for like a year, and my dumbass always said like, why the fuck are you still in this, or why did you stay? And I thought to myself, well, you know what? This was really good. I might have went through some emotional fucking damage in a sense of like, I was like, this person treated me like shit, and this person didn't really deserve the amount of respect I was giving them. But at the same time, it taught me, if I were to be with someone like that, I know to bounce out right away. And again, I'm clueless when it comes to, I was clueless, I should say. Not clueless, but I was clueless when it came to relationships. I didn't know that this is not how someone should be treating you. So that's why I think that, going through that emotional failure is going to help you in the long run, because you'll understand that people will learn from experiences. And I've made that video before where people you shouldn't take advice from, and I always say that you should always listen to the people that have the experience and what you're asking, because if you don't, you're not gonna, if you do, they're not gonna understand what to properly tell you, even though like it sounds properly like good, but it's just the way it comes out and all that. So it's really important that you sometimes get that failure of emotion. And this doesn't go for relationships, this goes for, like I said, school before and everything, because it's not like if you fail at something, you're not going to be happy about it unless you purposely wanted to. I mean, nobody wants to really fail at anything. So that emotional failure when it comes to, and this goes mainly for relationships, so this video, not like anything, but it does apply to a lot of things. And I just wanted to like keep keep in mind that this isn't something that I wish upon anybody. I don't want your relationship to fail. Even if it's your first one, I hope it goes well. I hope it stays. I know people that have been dating for like close to 10 years because of like, it was their first relationship in high school and all that, and they didn't date anyone before. That's great. And you can find motivation from anything. It doesn't have to be a failure. It doesn't have to be anything. But I do think that when you go through a breakup, it's not something that you should, be sad about, in a sense of like, hey, like you broke up, you got to sit in your bed, eat ice cream. That's the stereotype that, girls do, and also guys, I think, I don't know. But what you should really do is when you get through a breakup, use that energy, that emotional energy that you have, and put it into something positive for yourself. It's not only something that I said before with like the best way to get revenge, which is working on yourself, but also in a sense of like you were working on yourself and you needed that pain in order for you to actually hit the gym. Like I remember talking with an old mentor of mine, and he said like, this guy needs pain in his life. If he's not going through pain, he's not motivated to do anything. And it sounds probably toxic in a sense, like you need negative shit to happen, but sometimes it's the truth that you need something in a sense of like bad happening. I'm not saying like, oh, your mom or dad or grandma or grandpa should die and then you need to do something with that motivation. But a lot of times when that happens, or especially when your parents pass away, people are going to be like, I want to make my dad or my mom proud. So that gives them the boost to like, I don't know, start a business or do something. And I see that a lot, and we tend to see that a lot either in movies. I mean, movies are movies, but also in real life. You always want to make someone that you looked up to your entire life, like, proud. And that the fact that they're gone and that gave you so much pain, you want to put that pain into something, being like, I want to make them proud. I want them to know that I'm gonna do this for myself and also them. They're my motivator even though they're not here. And I think that is so important for anybody to understand, that you don't need these things to happen in order to have that motivation. But if it does happen to you, channel that into positivity, or be optimistic about certain situations that could be good for you. And again, I want to keep saying that because I don't want anyone to lose someone or have a breakup. But at the same time, I think that in life, some stuff like that could be important, especially breakups, for you to understand certain key aspects of life and key aspects of motivation. Because again, there's some people I knew that just nothing ever happened in their life and they didn't find a reason why they needed to go to the gym or to work on themselves. They've never been with a girl, they've never really lost anybody, or they've never really failed at anything. So why should they change something when they don't really have a reason to? Am I right? So again, this is just mainly my opinion on it. You can let me know down in the comments below if you agree or don't, or if I could have said anything. But it's been Fellow, and I hope you guys have a great day. Stay smart.